Good science, by definition, allows for more than one opinion. Otherwise, you merely have the will of one man, which is the basis of cult.
If it's not in the frame, it doesn't exist.
I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not gonna take this anymore!
I'm funny how? I mean funny like I'm a clown and a loser?
Where you been?
Drunk. Wendy. Darling. Light of my life.
What's your one purpose in life?
To explode, of course.
I like death with sex. How about you, Casey? You like sex with death?
Yeah, so fuck up and die.
Fast
Oh,
airplanes.
dude, we're gonna talk about airplanes that go zoom, dude.
Zoom. He's the fastest man
wait.
alive.
I really can't. He's so fast. The fact that Tom Cruise needs to be inside of a still bird to go that fast, it seems like they're holding him back. Like
Yeah,
Tom
he
Cruise
doesn't.
himself, he just started running on land and then he took off and they were like, "No, Tom, come back. You need to be in the plane. You can't. You would scare the audience. This isn't gonna play well."
I am scared. Like
I was terrified.
I was very scared by this movie. So this is the Cult of Cinema Knowledge podcast. It's Jordan. I'm Levi. You might wonder, why we're talking about planes and Tom Cruise being insane. And you're probably correct based on the title you saw. We're talking about we started off the month. We're going by the time this comes out, it'll be the beginning of the month. But
yeah, right.
We're doing kind of like a yearly wrap up of all the best movies of 2022 to kind of like kill multiple birds and like catch up on movies we didn't get to see of the year, end of the year lists, and then like Oscars coming out for me. I'm kind of I don't want to. We're talking about Top Gun Maverick, obviously.
We're talking about
Top Gun Maverick.
Top Gun.
Top Gun
Maverick.
2, The Maverick.
Yeah.
We're talking about that clearly, and I'm just really sad because we had such a good run, 3 movies in a row.
I know that. Well, and this arguably, we're still on a hot streak. It's just not a movie. I'm going to speak. I'm going to speak for you, and I'll speak for myself because on this matter, we're very similar. We're not. This isn't our movie. This movie is not for us, and that is fine. But I'm graciously going to talk about this as positively as possible, and then just kind of give my opinions on why I don't really like this kind of movie.
I'm gonna try. Yeah, exactly. I'm not gonna sit here and I'm gonna try to not sit here and rip on it.
Well, there's really nothing to rip on necessarily that is overall. I just like it's. No, I mean, no, really. If you look at it though, it's like this movie is so formulaic and basic that it exists as being kind of almost like it's like a perfectly made, structured movie plot.
Yeah,
it's
I guess.
So boring.
But so is like
so
every
lame.
other fucking movie. We'll get into why, because I think this does a lot of things really, really good, and then it does a couple things really, really bad for me. But I do think a lot of it is somewhat subjective. Or objective, rather, to my own personal experience that, this obviously clicked for a lot of people. A lot of people fucking love this movie.
I mean, it's one of the highest grossing movies ever.
Ever, yeah.
So if we want to just look at strict numbers.
Cinema. Well, that's the whole thing. And we're going to have a conversation because a big reason why I struggle with this is the hype. The hype ruined this for me.
I know. Well, and that's the thing. It's like
I have low expectations already, though. That's the
shut up. And now you need to. I do have a twist kind of at the end here, but you need to give a little synopsis real quick.
I do. I was actually gonna write one
synopsis.
I was gonna be a good boy and write one because I don't remember the plot that much, but So
how can you not remember the plot?
Because it's so fucking forgettable.
It's Super Mission, dude. They gotta go on Super Mission to save America.
So Top Gun Maverick, the Maverick, Tom Cruise, he's like working for the Navy and he's the fastest man alive. And they're like, you're the only one that can save our program. So he saves it. And they're like, by God, you're a rebel and a rule breaker, but God, I can't help but respect you. And so you're going back to Top Gun Island to train a bunch of dudes. And they're like, one of the dudes is the son, Miles Teller, of the dude that I killed in the first movie by accident.
Yeah.
Whoops.
So there's some tension.
There's some tension there. And so he goes to train these guys for a super secret mission against a very ambiguous enemy to fly in and blow up a nuclear base.
They're an enemy of the U.S., so they're the enemy. Dude.
Yeah, they're just the enemy. They're just nameless. It just literally was like rogue state. A rogue state has a state of the anyway.
Yeah.
So then they proceed to spend the next hour and a half training these bunch of hooligans to be the best fighter pilots on the planet, but they're preparing for the super mission to take out this nuclear base. But there's a lot of goofing around because it's like an academy still. It's not really a lot of it's not taken seriously. John Hamm has to show up as the admiral often and be like, "You guys better be taking this seriously now because this is really serious." And
I kind of forgot that John Hamm did like like serious roles. I was so used to seeing him in like funny roles. I kind of forgot.
I know we're gonna watch Confess Fletch one of these days.
I know. I heard it was good.
Anyway. I know. I want to. But
yeah.
Anyway, and then there's Jennifer Connelly in it, which serves no purpose other than to just give you some kind of emotional core to link onto, which is kind of wasted. And then they do the thing at the end, like, well, Top Gun gets kicked out, and then they bring him back as the team leader to be like, you really are the fastest man alive. You're the only one who can pull it off. And then they pull it off, and no one dies, and everyone's happy.
They G.I. Joe pretty fucking hard, and then
they get in and they save the world, and it's all great, and Miles Teller, like they kind of come together. The ending actually, they crash down behind enemy lines, and they have to like steal an old jet.
That's literally the stupidest detail.
It's stupid, but it's the
stupidest part of the whole movie. That part made me so frustrated.
The whole climax was the only good part of the movie, really.
Sure, well, right, of course. No,
I mean, it was entertaining.
My favorite part of the whole thing, honestly, is when he gets in the old airplane. I'm like, that is what I.
Well, that's what I'm saying. When he steals,
airplanes are fucking sick.
Yeah.
No, not that old airplane. I don't give a shit about like '80s airplanes. I don't care when they like
the one at the very,
I'm talking
very
right
end?
at the very end. The one he's working on, the one he's muscling, and he's just like he gets in and he just flies his girl in it. And
into the sunset over credits.
It's so beautiful, dude. Like old planes, like old warplanes. Those are sick. When it's like you couldn't even go like Mach 1, and it's like they're just like dog
not even close, man. Cool. You gonna break the sound barrier in that? Come on.
No.
This this movie does that right. Like planes are cool, and all the visual effects are really cool.
Oh, dude, the planes go fast as fuck, and that's dope.
they go fast, guy. Yeah. They go pretty fast.
So I wanted to ask you, have you seen the original?
Yes.
Let's start off there.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a baseline. I haven't. I've never seen the original.
I've seen it, but I had to brush up on it because I hadn't watched it since the dark era of where I've seen
your origins.
So my origin story.
It's your origin. It's your evil villain origin story of like how you became. Your evil villain's like the Collector or something, and you've seen every movie ever.
Me as an angsty teenager, like hunched over in my bedroom with a DVD, VCR, TV combo, like an all-in-one. That's like it's like 11 inches screen.
It's like a SpongeBob one. And
you remember? You've seen my high school bedroom in the basement. It was just like the big one on my dresser. Anyway,
that's what we all had, bud.
I know. I'm just saying.
That was 28 Days Later.
I watched thousands of movies on that stupid thing.
I know, man. The best way you should watch it. See, okay,
but that's when I watched. That's when I watched Top Gun last, and I didn't. I thought it was. I did not care. For it at all. Then I was like, sure, fine, it's Top Gun, but it does nothing for me. And then so this one come around, I did not give a flying fuck about it coming out. But then I was like forced to see it. but it came out and everyone thought it was surprisingly good.
I'm not like crazy happy to see it necessarily. I'm just like, you know what? I could laugh at the ridiculousness of it, and it went by fairly quick. So I was pleasantly surprised. That's pretty much all I've got to say. I was pleasantly surprised. I think the one thing, with this movie, dude, I was getting really caught up on the fact that like everyone says you have to watch this in theaters. That's literally the only way you're going to get the experience. And that's the fucking creators themselves said, this is a film you're supposed to see in theaters. There's no other way you should watch this. See it in theaters or don't see it at all. But please see it because we want you to watch video on demand or buy the Blu-ray. But it like that's how you're supposed to see it. if that's like, I understand like spectacle exists and it has to be implemented into film, and there are movies that you need to see in theaters. I totally agree. It's like there are tons of movies that like I understand that they have a better impact, but if you can't even
exactly though,
get
right?
anything off of I felt absolutely nothing, dude. The whole entire time I watched this,
we're dead. We are dead inside.
But no, dude, it's like that's the thing. It's like, what are we talking about? Like Assassination, Jesse James, or like Carol Robert Ford. I watched that on my cell phone, and I feel something.
I literally,
I tingle.
We're probably going to talk about this at the end of the episode and next week. Yeah. But I went and saw Everything Everywhere All at Once again in theaters like the day before yesterday.
Oh yeah,
with my brother. Because
spoiler alert, that did win.
Did it win
for next week? Yeah. So
it was sort of close.
To watch it again.
Yeah.
So I'm hella excited.
But I was like almost crying at that movie. But
I cried when I saw it in theaters, and I know I'm gonna watch it here at my house, and I know I will feel.
Dude, the older I get, the more like I find myself just being moved by films more often. Yeah, I'm just like watch a movie, and I'm just like getting all choked up, and it's not even like an emotional scene; it's just like a powerful scene sometimes, and I'm just like, this is so good filmmaking. I love that.
And I think it's because films have kind of gotten to this stage where it's like, if I can suspend my disbelief and be kind of like drawn in, and then the music balances with the scene and like the technical aspect behind it and the filmography and everything we've got going on, if I can just enjoy that and be like, oh cool, these are fun shots, I'm excited. In this film, all we get a technical feat that is super broken for me because it's one gimmick. It's cool to see it's cool to see them inside.
The airplane stunts are fucking sick.
Are cool, but that's it. And so after the first time,
well edited and well choreographed,
right?
But it's just
right.
but
after the first run that they do all the dry runs, and it's really cool. And I'm like, cool. And dude, honestly, the first opening shot when he gets in that really fast one, and he goes Mach 10, like I really fucking hate how like pandering it is when it goes back and forth and all the witty banter between the people in the control that are smirking. They're smirking at the general because they're like, oh, you thought that he wasn't going to do it. Look at him. And then it's like he goes Mach 10 and everyone's like, oh, and even myself, I was like, oh, he hit Mach 10 because I totally expected him not to hit Mach 10, and that was going to be his redemption, and he was going to hit Mach 10 at the end, but he just hit Mach 10, and they were like, cool. And then they did the whole like he's got to push it one step forward because that's
who he is.
That's how he goes. And so it broke the scene for me. But for a minute, when he's going that fast, and it's like 2001: A Space Odyssey, and it's like
cool.
It's like distortion on the outside.
The cinematography is good, and the effects are good.
Right.
And the editing was actually really good because this got nominated for 6 Academy Awards, and editing was one of them. And I think that was the only one that I think it has a chance and would deserve.
I saw you commented it got nominated for Best Original Screenplay,
Best Adapted Screenplay. Which don't worry,
adapted.
I'll get to that. I will get to that. But backing it up, because that's my 100% my biggest gripe. Backing it up.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting you're saying about like this movie needs to be seen in theaters because I think I would have enjoyed it more, first of all. But I feel like we're in a weird age in between like the quote unquote like streaming and cinema and like theater chains where it's like people are drawing this weird line in the sand where it's like this movie's made to be streamed or it's more of a smaller movie. But you get so many more filmmakers now that are like, no, cinema is like it's things that meant to be seen in theaters, like James Cameron or something. Also, somebody has mentioned where it's like you got to see Avatar in theaters too, but then it's like if you can't also watch it at home, you did not make a good movie. Like I don't know, like
right? You
made again. This is why, and I don't fully 100% agree with the statement, but this is why Scorsese said that these big spectacle movies, not naming any names, are basically just roller coasters because you go to the theater, you have this big spectacle, and you're like, wowzers, look at the airplanes, they go fast. And then that's it. I don't leave the movie being like, I'm going to go get a Maverick tattoo because I'm Maverick. I connected to who that guy is. What a deep character he is. He's kind of a bad boy. You know what I mean? But also, God damn it, you can't help respect him.
Well, dude,
he's the fastest man alive.
The whole time I was watching this, I was like, do you think I, at 33 and like 250 pounds could become. Could I get into Top Gun?
Dude, you
Do
should.
think
I
I
think
could
you
go
could.
through the ranks? Could I be a Marine and then get into Top Gun? Do you think
Dude,
I
yeah,
still can?
I think you could do it.
I bet I could, right? How long do you think it would take me?
You
Like
got to
2
be.
years?
See, they were
Top
missing
Gun.
that character because like all the pilots were all like 20. You know what I mean?
right.
They're like 22. Is like the vibe you get, and I'm like, these are supposed to be the best pilots, and that's what throws me off too, is because it's like Maverick, he's like 50, and I'm like, he's the best. Like, there's no in between. There's like all these youngsters, and then there's Maverick who's 50, and he ends up being the top dog. And I'm like, so you're telling me no one else? I guess, you know, voiceless Val Kilmer, who shows up at the end. It's like no one else. There's no other pilots since the 80s, I guess. I don't know. Because all these kids were born after that. Like, there's guaranteed they're all born.
Do not even get me started on the fact the entire. Oh my god, dude. So this is the part. I'm sorry, man. I don't know. Everything I tried to be nice, but it's like the movie what it does. I'm glad that you liked it. I love that for you, and I think that like
Not for me.
I think what you liked about it.
Me?
I'm talking to podcast land, dude. I'm
Oh,
talking to people out in the
audience?
podcast.
You looked me
Yeah.
in the eyes like it was soulful.
No, I never looked in that. So it's like
They're just so beady. I don't know where you're looking.
everybody out there. I know. Well, it's hard, dude. I don't want to just stare. Just keep them as wide as I can the entire time.
You and
I hope
podcast
that-
land, I get it.
I hope that you enjoyed it.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
glad that you did if you did. And it was really cool that you saw it in theaters. But the fact that they tried to create a story out of this, so I personally, now I'm talking to you, Levi. I personally wish they had the fucking just guts. I wish they had the audacity to make a movie where it was like literally just like completely 100% in the air. Like, do you know how fucking cool it would be to make like a Dread style movie where it's like 5 minutes of him getting like on the motorcycle and then he gets in the plane to do it and he's in that like experimental ship and then he has to dogfight like 100% of it.
That would be amazing.
Dude,
where
can you
it was
imagine?
like it was a real time mission that
Yeah,
took 2
it's a
hours.
real time mission.
Like
Yes.
they're 2 hours in a mission and it's real time
That
doing
would
the
be sick.
mission.
I'm sure. Actually, I bet that's happened. I bet there's a submarine movie where it's like
Oh, yeah.
that, where
I bet
it's like
there
they're
is.
in the submarine
Oh,
like
God, that would
90% of
be-
the time.
That would be my Top
I
Gun,
bet you,
man. That would be
dude,
great.
That the whole time I was watching this, right when he gets into it and he's going, and I'm just like, that's what I was saying. That opening shot was beautiful, and then I was like, all right, now I want the like that's the inciting incident is him getting in the plane and him almost going rogue or like doing a mission outside of it, like him like if he just was in the sky like 100% of the time. That would have been
The
that
whole
would have been
movie's just
so
him.
cool.
He stole a plane and he can't land because he's gonna go to jail.
It just
He does-
well, or I don't. Yeah. Something like so that you like. It just I don't know. It would have been so cool if they like just ripped off the Top Gun name and then just went what? Because what we got.
I'm gonna make a Top Gun movie with just two U's.
Dude. yeah.
Top Gun.
Yeah, Top Gun, dude. It's like what we got was so lifeless. I hope that like everyone
was-
who
but
loved
that's
the
the
original
thing,
Top Gun
it
felt good, felt nostalgic, felt like that. That's what I'm coming at it with. Like I'm coming at it with such like, you know, I don't know, like such disdain. I guess I mean
Yeah.
disdain's kind of a harsh word. Just so like I'm not interested.
It's like
in Top Gun,
ambivalence
so-
more than anything, probably.
Yeah,
You're just
yeah,
like,
yeah.
eh.
I'm indifferent. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just like I can like I get it. I love it. I just think it's fucking stupid as fucking shit that it's the US military and they're trying to be like, "Oh, we got budget problems." Get fucked all the way to Tuesday, dude. I don't give a shit about that. That is the
There's
stupidest
literally
fucking
no
that
institution
conflict-
on earth that has more money.
That has more money. No. The U.S. military is the most
They
funded
just print
thing
money.
in the planet.
Yeah.
It is so funded. It's so funded that like that millions have died and it hasn't even come up. It's like it's been covered up so well that millions and millions of children have died. Do you know how many Palestinian fucking skeletons are out there? Oh my
Most countries in the world operate on less money
have never even made the amount that we've made in 1 year
for their
our
entire
military budget.
country.
For their entire country, for the existence of the entire country.
Yeah.
It has made so much money that there's if you took every single human being that's existed in the existence of human beings and then you gave them $100 for their entire life and you compounded that, it wouldn't even come to 1 year of the military. Like the amount, it's so astronomical that like when he crashes the plane and he goes, you crashed a multi-million-dollar plane. No, you motherfucker, that plane is probably $4 billion, dude. This movie cost like this movie costs as much as like one person gets paid in the military. I know. Like, dude, it got me so I was just laughing the whole time because I'm like, this propaganda is so thick and so fucking stupid.
She actually watched this with me too, and she did not like it. Which is surprising, but she was specifically like, she was like all these like forced romance scenes between him and Jennifer Connelly. Like he goes back and it's just so she's literally like, why is this so fake? And I'm like, it's shot fake. It's like acted like I love Jennifer Connelly, and she's like. I mean, she's always fun to look. Like I love her, but
she's fun. I like to look at her. I like to look at still photos of her when I go home. But no, dude, it's like I like it's funny when the playful scene when she rings the bell and everyone shouts. Oh my God. I'm like, oh, this is fun, but I'm just like I'm having a terrible time right now.
No, it's like when they're like she like leaves the door open and he goes in and they make sweet love and it's like. The music, and all the music. It's just like the shots fade of like he like lays her down on the bed. Like it's just so paint by numbers.
And I get what they're doing. So they did it poorly, but I know that they wanted to make it feel nostalgic. Like because the opening scene was definitely I'm like oh sick. This could have been shot in the 80s. They did that on purpose. You know they shot it probably like the original. I have a strong feeling this is like. Pretty much like the exact same plot of the original, just kind of new character. Whatever.
The original one kind of makes more sense because it's like they are this school that kind of like gets sucked up in this thing at the end that they're the only ones who can do it. But it's like in this one, it's like they're training here for the ultimate mission, and
it's the most fabricated. It's the saddest mission ever too, where they're like literally like they're like you're fighting nothing. You're fighting it's just wild. It's like I get it. They did that on purpose because it's like they wanted to make the reason this movie made a fucking $2 billion almost is like because they were like, okay, we need to have this work nationwide or worldwide. It can't just be a US based, we can't just make it America, even though they clearly did. But it's like they hit it so well with the enemy that it's like
Mary was even saying so like glaring. This wanted to be high stakes, but it ended up not kind of being like they should. Yeah. She's like, it should have just went balls out where this like crazy G.I. Joe, like you're saying, like terrorist group, like Snake shows up and is like bombing cities. And it's like this more impeding threat. But instead they're like, no, the enemy. We all hate the enemy. It's like
the enemy.
It's literally like I feel like they're like the screenplay. Like, should we go back and like add an actual tangible thing to fight against, or like add any type of like no, the enemy. It's just the enemy. Everyone hates the enemy. It's the enemy. Like I can't argue with that.
It's the U.S. enemy. So
can't argue with that.
And you know what? I love it how they're like what they're doing is like they're like. Anybody out there who has a bias against a certain subgroup, well, they're just gonna put that face on it because it's literally just a stormtrooper. Like it's just like a dude in a black helmet that flies by, and it's like they don't even like this is probably the softest movie I've ever seen where people die. It's like I can't.
I'm surprised that
die,
they had it in a snowy terrain. I thought for sure they're gonna show up and it's gonna be like the Middle East or something. But
I know, but they decided to go like straight, just mountains, just ambiguous.
Well, I was literally just like, I was the one thing I literally said too. I was like, "Oh man, they're going around these curves so crazy in this training. I'm like excited to see this canyon they get into. Man, it's going to be like some Grand Canyon shit." And I'm like, it was not. I was like, "Oh, they're in the canyon already. It's like this wide."
I mean, and
it's
that's
fine.
The
climax is cool.
That's our ignorance.
No,
when it comes down to like
100%.
I get how cool it is, and I know that they flew like really low, and it was like. The actual like anytime you do any type of aerial acrobatic, there's like huge risk.
Well, yeah, and especially like those planes because it's like you can't just slow them down and land anywhere. They are always going fast as fuck.
Right.
Which is obviously part of the thing. It's like no, it's like when something goes wrong, there's not like I'm gonna invert the bird and land it in a field. It's like no, you have to eject because it's going too fast. There's nothing you can do.
And that's what's kind of cool. I'm assuming. In the original one, they showed it where the ejection went wrong and somebody got hurt. And I think
that's it was Miles Teller's dad, his like best friend.
Right, okay,
Goose,
that was his.
When the whole time he's like,
Goose,
talk to me, Goose, talk to me.
The whole time we were watching this, I'm like, the only thing I know about Top Gun is like they've got they call them call signs in this, and it's like I assume that's what
And
they
they
call
have
the
all their
original.
like
And they're, like-
specialized helmets and everything.
Yeah, right. And it's like I get that, like that's fun. That's like a video game. Like that's the part of it
Yeah.
where you can just be like, well,
That's
this
the
is
thing.
action
It
fun.
felt like a video game. Yeah, absolutely. It would make a great video game, and the characters are
Right.
fun. They're 2-dimensional,
Sure.
but they're
Oh,
they're
yeah,
cool.
right.
They're cool. You know, I have no
They're
qualms.
fine. They're all distinctive in their archetypes, but it's like it's
think
the most
The
like,
biggest
milquetoast.
reason. So I'm going to talk about the main reason why I'm ripping on this movie right now.
Yeah.
Because honestly,
Let's hear it, Goose.
everything I've said for the last 20 minutes it's totally fine. I don't want to feel like a hypocrite because I like movies that have all these same problems.
I wanted. Can I just get into real quick? I loved Pacific Rim.
Yep.
And
I was literally about to say
okay.
Pacific
It's-
Rim is an example where it's
Pacific
just
Rim.
like it's all spectacle, all action. The story doesn't really matter. It has a
No.
little bit of like fluff moments to try and make you care, and there's like comic
But
relief.
it's
like
weird. It's like the comedy and the
it's
levity
the
of it.
same print by
know.
numbers kind of like action movie. But the thing that gets me, and I know this is a dangerous thing, and this is not. I should be more careful. It's the hype. Because I did not have, but it's weird how it affected me because I did not have high expectations for this, but yeah, I still ended up being pissed because first it came out, I had no desire to see it, and everyone was like, "It's so good, it's so good." I've seen it in theaters like 5 times. Like people who don't watch movies, but and even people like our good friend David, he loved it, and so I'm like, okay, maybe it's decent, and everyone's like, "It saved cinemas. It's like movies are back, baby." And I'm like, okay, sure, but whatever. And I don't take that much base in like the Academy Awards. I know there's like a line between like trying to actually recognize good filming of the year, like good filmmaking and good art, and then also trying to appeal to everyone and be popular.
Well, I think
the
the
Oscars,
Academy. I think the Academy is its own like barometer for itself. It's not the end all be all of great cinema. I do enjoy it being like it's almost like it's like I'm sure the politics behind it are like fucking toxic, but it kind of seems like seems like in all in good fun. It's just kind of like, hey, we're doing this.
I enjoy
it.
It
doesn't matter because it's like the film's already done. It's already made its money.
Yeah.
This now is just to kind of.
I only enjoy it because it's a chance. It's like a big event that's surrounded about movies, so I get to talk about movies to like the
we've
layman.
said it before. It's our Super Bowl.
It is,
Yeah,
it's like I think it's kind of bullshit, but it's like I have a party every year and we have like a betting pool and it's fun and it's all good fun. But like,
yeah, it's all good, clean fun.
The fact that it got nominated for Best Adapted Screenplay, like everything else is technical, and then it got Best Picture nom, but Best Adapted Screenplay really it kind of piqued my interest. I was like, oh, this like mindless action movie got a Best Adapted Screenplay nomination. Like, oh, it must actually like have like some bones to it. Because everyone's talking it up. So I was like, okay, maybe we'll see. I had an open mind. But then I saw it and I was like, this screenplay is fucking trash. And I'm like, it's okay sometimes for the screenplay to be trash. That is not necessarily what it's always about. But I'm like, even big blockbuster movies, like the dialogue was fucking terrible. Like when I say trash, it was very well paced. I'll give it that. It's very well paced. The scenes themselves are well paced. That's fine. The dialogue, the character, and the themes, like, can you even, like, name, like, Top Gun's a fucking caricature from the 80s, or Maverick. It's like every other character.
I know, I kept calling him Top Gun. I kept being like,
all the other characters are just...
I'm like, there's Ice Bucket in this, and there's, there's Bird. I was like, I know there's some people, I know they got some call signs.
I just struggled, like, genuinely, I knew it was all downhill from that opening scene that you're talking of, where literally it cuts to the one general guy and they're like, and dead serious, it like zooms in on his face and he's like, he's the fastest man alive. Mary, I just could not stop laughing because there's so many totally unironic lines like that in this movie. Like, I literally I turned to my wife, I said, I bet you there's like a scene when he finally does the time, he comes at the end and does the time before to prove that it's possible, near the end before the thing.
Right, of course,
But I literally, I will bet you $10 right now that someone in the room leans and is like, says to themselves, leans forward and is like, by God, he did it. That son of, that's crazy son of a bitch.
Yep. Yeah. It actually, I think that's kind of, now that we're talking about this, I'm actually kind of coming around to the fact that it's almost like, it's almost endearing. It's almost kind of like fun that I'm like, look, I kind of wish that they did it better. I wish they leaned into something. Like they didn't know what they wanted to be, so they kept it beige as fuck. It was just like they kept it so level ground.
There's a plot, barely.
God, I wish they leaned into it.
The story, like, what is this about? Loyalty? Like, is this about freedom?
I mean, there's no,
like, what
there's
is this
no theme.
about?
No. The theme is teamwork.
Yeah,
it's teamwork. No,
yeah,
100%. It's too thick, just python biceps, just slapping hands and just shaking, dude. That's I love it,
they're all
dude.
leaning forward in that scene, and there's so many scenes me and Mary were just laughing at because they're all like, "Oh my god!" But then at the end, when they make it back safe to the hangar, and Miles Teller and Tom Cruise are just talking to each other. They're talking to each other for like 2 straight minutes, and the extras behind them are just like, "Yeah!" for like 2 minutes straight. I'm like, what are they? Who are these guys? And they're just they just don't stop. They're like, go harder.
You have no fucking idea. Do you know how many times I should have fucking done tally marks. Do you know how many times I went, this is real life. That's like the reason Pacific Rim fucking rocks in my socks off is because it's a fake fun sci-fi. Like I'm probably biased for sci-fi more than I don't know, U.S. propaganda, like military.
Well, everyone says it's escapism, but I guess that's
not.
why
It's all real fucking life. I'm like, these are real. These are like, this is a real division, real people, like real things that like exist. And I'm like, they keep like joking about it, like this has got to be done. And it's like, everyone's like, kind of like, I don't know. They were too jovial throughout it. Where I'm like, when they crash land and they make the joke, like, you told me not to think. I'm like, you guys are like behind enemy lines. Like this is real. Like no one in war has ever like been in fighting and they've been like, hey Applejack, what's up? They high five and they have a good time. They do that later, and it's like, and there is a duplicity of war. That's how come I like anti-war movies. I don't really like pro-war movies are fucking stupid. It's like that's why it's like where like Full Metal Jacket really talks about like the duality of war and
they're like
that,
shook
it's a
and
fucking
like
shitty. Yeah,
it's
shitty. Like even the most like,
you can't really compare this to fucking Full Metal Jacket, but I 100% see your point though.
But you know what I mean. That's where I'm like I can get down on a war movie.
Well, this just
if
wants
it
to
has
be
substance.
This just wants to be non-offensive to anyone. So that's why like it can't be. It feels like it's not escapism.
Can I tell you my plot? Can I tell you my plot twist?
Oh yeah, tell it to me.
I thought that this did really well because it had a world it had worldwide distribution, but I thought that what saved it was China, because that is literally the market that saves like any big it's like I was actually doing research before we started this, and it's like there's the big six like film studios, they actually get to do China distribution, and only 34 movies a year get to go to China. And that's usually where they make all their money back.
Oh yeah, they make a buttload of money.
This movie didn't get a China distribution. Because it is pro-America. Dude, I
thought maybe that's why they went so bland on not having like a villain.
Me too.
Because they didn't want to like single anyone, even though it's like it could
for
just
Japan,
make it like a crazy.
They took out all the Japanese and Taiwanese imagery in it. They took all of that out for that distribution over there. And then they have it for America. But anyways, it's just like I was blown away that they didn't get China, and they still made like 170.
That's impressive. That is pretty impressive.
Or 1.7, but
buttload though, yeah. But I
don't know. It's interesting.
It's just everyone just keeps comparing it to like they're like, oh, this is like just a fun movie. Like this is the, and again, I'll take this over probably a Marvel movie at this point, even though at least Marvel movies have characters with interesting ideologies, mainly the villains, of course, but. Like there's a nugget there.
I would rather watch it.
I get from like just a writing perspective. Like I'm just a writer, and I feel like that you don't have to cop out. Like even if your movie's not about like again Pacific Rim, for some reason that seems to be like it's a good benchmark for like a really just over the top action movie where it's all spectacle, but it's just like it doesn't like I don't know like it doesn't skimp on just having a cohesive plot and everything. Like I'm not asking for fucking Citizen Kane or anything, but even Avatar 2, I'd rather watch Avatar 2 way more because at least it's like I think it kind of swung. It was super ambitious and it kind of whiffed it, honestly. Like there's a lot about Avatar 2 I think is really lazy and like I don't like. But it's like I don't know, for at least a lot of it, they tried. Like, I feel like they really at least swung for, like, I can tell you what Avatar is about. It has a message. It has characters. Like, and it's super over-the-top escapism to the point that there's a fucking mental illness of, like, people having separation anxiety when the movie ends. Like, they literally, that's a thing. Of, like, they...
really? Is it?
Because they can never go to Pandora because it's a fictional world. Like, look it up. It's fucking weird.
Okay.
But I'm
I
like,
see.
that's
It's
escapism.
that immersive. That's escape. That's immersive. Like, I think this movie was definitely a movie for people to go like, hell yeah. I think that was it. And
that's fine. It was a good nostalgia. Like, I think if I, grew up in the 80s and loved Top Gun back then, or, if I was like a Gen Xer,
Yeah,
I think that would kind of resonate more. Just
or if we were David, because David loved the sound. I read his review, and like he loved like the soundtrack and he loved like everything about it. And I'm like, dude, I get. So that's the whole thing. I'm like, it's a 5-star movie on how the scenes are shot inside the cockpits. That is fucking dope. Like all the behind the scenes is cool. I would rather watch like a 30-minute documentary or an hour and a half documentary of this movie than watch this movie ever again.
That's the thing. Life. The one thing I think this movie really fucking nailed, and is the whole reason all these scenes work so well, is the editing. Like, the editing was fucking killer. Like, was just super on point in all the scenes. Like, it was just knew when to be kind of crazy. They knew how to, like, fucking, it did so many perfect, interesting, like, cutting on action and match cuts, and, like, but also knew when to let it breathe. Like, the editing was great. And I think that's the whole reason this movie really works, a lot of those scenes. But, can I say, and it isn't just this movie. A lot of movies do it, and I think Christopher Nolan's the most guilty of it. But I hate when at home, especially in theaters, it's not so bad. But when a movie switches from IMAX, like aspect ratio, and then goes back down to the just like a regular 16:9 aspect ratio, it drives me crazy. And I'm like, if you're gonna shoot all these big scenes in IMAX, and some of the scenes are just them talking like outside at the plane, and it's still IMAX, I'm just like, don't be you fucking coward. Just shoot the whole thing in IMAX then. Nope was all IMAX.
Is IMAX is that film?
Yeah. I think so.
I would assume,
right?
Can they?
Like,
I wonder if they have
actually don't know if it is film. I'm an idiot. David would know. He's probably screaming, and he never listens to these, but he would be screaming.
I know, yeah.
I don't think it's film but it's like the 70mm equivalent of like digital, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, right.
I mean, obviously, I can tell the difference of the film quality and the aspect ratio, but it's just like it's shot on like it's you feel like it's shot on 70mm for these crazy bombastic scenes, right. And then it just cuts and it's 30mm, like it's 35 again, and you're like, oh, okay, like I don't know, it's always jarring. Christopher Nolan does it a lot too. Like I noticed it a lot in Tenet as well. But I'm just like, just shoot the whole thing in IMAX or don't. You know what I mean? Or whatever. But I don't know. It really stuck out to me this time. And I feel like in theaters it's not as bad. But I don't know. This movie was okay. I just think it's just... I don't know why everyone likes it so much. I don't know.
I guess, yeah.
I'm glad everyone likes it. No, that's the thing. I'm glad. I think people liking a movie, watching a movie and liking it is a net positive always. But like... I think
the only thing that bothers me is the fact that this is going to set, like, I mean, I always say this and then you never necessarily see it happen, because a movie that costs this much to produce, and the fact that it's like quote unquote a one-hit wonder, it like you're not going to get really another movie like this immediately, or you're not going to see like a big rash of these kind of films coming out. Because it's like when a movie costs like $200 million to shoot, because it's spoiler, right? That was the budget. It's like that. That's just that's not happening. Studios aren't just going, oh, I'm going to make a $200 million movie just on the off chance that it might make me. No,
there's definitely a swing too, because it's like Top Gun is popular, but it's not like it's not a guarantee. Like I feel like it was kind of a risk for them to spend that much fucking money
Yeah.
Because it's like, I don't think they really could have projected this would have made almost $2 billion. Like, that's really good, especially without going to China, like you said, which is bonkers. Like, that's really good.
That is blowing my mind.
But, I mean, I guess they know more than me, man, because, like, that's crazy. Like, 200 million is a lot, but for how much they made, it seems like it's totally worth it. See, I'm just happy that two of the biggest movies of the year were not like superhero movies. I'm so over superhero movies, but like, I'm like, yeah, give me more Avatars, man. Like, give me more Top Guns. Like, if that's what is going to replace in our like film zeitgeist for the next decade, it's going to replace like the MCU and shit. Like, I'm for it, because I'm so like, I literally went and saw a movie the other day, and 3 of the 4 trailers were MCU movies, and I was just like glazing over. I was just like, man.
Do you know what's wild? To be so far removed from the MCU, and like,
I'm lost.
To me, it feels like they don't even come out anymore. But you're right. I mean, they have it, because I've seen like the posts where the MCU have built their universe from like 2006 to like 2050, and they're releasing like 10 movies a year, or something wild like that. Like 10, it's like 10 properties a year, like miniseries and movies and everything, And so it's just like, it's wild to be like, oh, they've had it mapped out for like 50 years, and so it's like so. But it's just like, I've watched. Oh, that's Black Adam's not even MCU. So I've watched like maybe fucking Iron Man. I think that's and Guardians of the Galaxy, the first one.
I think I've seen pretty much everything. Yeah. I forced myself to watch them just because it's like, I like watching movies, and I can always find something to appreciate. No matter
I watched
what.
Age of Ultron. I watched
I watched pretty much everything up until Endgame. Like, I watched all that first thing. Oh, okay. I didn't watch the Thor ones though. Just because I only watched them with my wife, because she wanted.
I want to watch Thor Ragnarok. I want to watch that one because that's
at least it looks visually interesting.
What's his name again? Tahiti.
Taiki Waititi or whatever.
Yeah.
However say it. I do like him, even though everyone says that those movies suck. But usually it kind of depends. But I don't know, man. I'm just like, what?
Anyways, I agree with you though. It is nice to kind of see the shift from like making bigger budget movies.
People or the general audience is kind of starting to get kind of over it too, and so they're like. Yeah.
But it's kind of sad, because it's like one of my favorite movies of the year, which is Banshees of Inisherin, is like, I mean, I guess those movies still get made. Yeah. And it's like, well, I don't know. I guess
show you. We'll talk about it more next week, but it's like you don't need $200 million to make a good movie, man.
No.
You can, that's why I'm like, I want more of these, $30 million max, absolute max. Like if it's like, 5 to 10 million on 90% of the movies, awesome. Like, if you can't get it done with that much, then it's like, you can go above and beyond, but I think those need to be the exception. But.
I'm waiting for some sort of cultural shift where video on demand can cooperate with studios and vice versa, because I would love to start seeing more effort put into video on demand and cleaning that up. I don't know, getting streaming services.
We're definitely in a weird in between right now. Like, people are fighting it. Like I said, it's like you got the real hardcore purists. They're like, I only make my movie for the cinemas, and then it's like it doesn't have staying power because of that. You know what I mean?
Right.
We're in a weird in between where it's just like, how do we determine box office? How do we turn contracts? There was that argument about you only make money on. Yeah, it's crazy. It's
and that actually
we're in a weird limbo with it for sure.
That's always been the travesty of just film in general since 1912, when the first fucking film studio opened up. It's like it's just ever since then. It's like, is film art, or is film a production that is film just
Yeah, there's always
something you produce to make money, and the art comes second. Anyways.
Right.
But do you wanna read some Reddits?
Yeah, I got a couple of Reddits.
I gave the box office. You guys heard that. It's like, it was like 200 million to produce, and then it box office
sitting right now 1.7 or something.
It's 1.7. Yeah, it's like 1.7 billion, and it's just gonna keep going because it's going back into theaters. So. Oh yeah. It's making some money.
Yeah, people had some things to say about Top Gun, so let's see.
Let's hear it.
So on the Reddit, Muses with Wine says, enjoyed this movie but didn't see it in a theater. It's the basic great blockbuster, and when adding nostalgia for parents and older, it draws. Of course, with younger folks always being the bigger consumers of popular media, they enjoyed it too. It was formulaic as heck, but for getting those ingredients together, plus the splendor of many scenes, I imagine it looked great on the big screen. Makes sense it was as popular as it was. Simple sells. Cameron also knows. A lot of greats know. I think Simple does definitely sell. There's no doubting that. It's sold like crazy. So
yeah. No, I mean, yeah, the proof is right there in the box office.
yeah, this one I'm kind of jealous of because this actually sounds fun. But Robbie Aldo says, I saw it in 4D at the cinema, and the action scenes were absolutely insane. Every time the plane banked and turned, we were thrown around in our seats, and it was like we were in the cockpit with Tom Cruise. I'm so glad I saw it on the big screen, and I would pay again to see it in 4D in a heartbeat. It's essentially the exact same plot as the first one, but the action scenes are fun, and the nostalgia factor is through the roof. Pure escapism, what going to the cinema should be. Like, that sounds like an experience,
yes.
But
like,
it also, it's like,
so
yeah,
different.
that's literally a roller coaster. Like,
I know, right? Isn't that funny?
It's
yeah.
literally
it literally is like, it's almost, I mean, you said that you'd go see it again, but it's like, I guarantee you it would not, the impact would not be the same. You would go and see it again and you'd be like, oh, this is fun and it's cool and thrilling. But I just feel like it's I don't know, it's just, yeah, it's all style over substance in that.
And sometimes that's fine, but I guess just this time it just didn't click with me, you know what I mean? But
sure.
To each their own. But so Llama Drama 007 says, as a young teen crushing hard on young Tom Cruise, I watched the first Top Gun countless times, hundreds.
Hell yeah.
Boy, was I obsessed. Whoops, I accidentally clicked that. Maverick is absolutely littered with callbacks to Top Gun, and that in itself should have made it enjoyable for me. No. In a blindingly obvious formulaic film, it felt incredibly lazy. Oh, I haven't even read this one yet. And highlighted how Mav is still exactly the same as he ever was. I have grown up. He has not. I was frustrated that Mav, as a post-middle-aged pilot, is still stupidly reckless and still the best of the best. That going ballistic with Penny Benjamin back in the 80s is now his on and off again true love. That he would prevent Goose's son from entering the academy. That ICE is now apparently regularly saving his ass. It kind of worries me people connecting with him and idolizing such a stunted personal growth. Escapism is one thing. I'm a smidge off 50 and so understand the wish to feel the way I did when I was younger and carefree. But damn, being stuck there your whole life? As a cocky flyboy, Maverick was a fun, arrogant character. At his current age, it was just bloody sad. But Faltermeyer gave me goosebumps, and yes, the aerial scenes are fantastic. And despite it all, I liked it, even though I've seen it 3 times so far. Formulaic sells for a reason. Maverick was always going to be a hit.
Holy shit, you've seen it 3 times? That's like, that is interesting to me. It's like watching it being kind of like disappointed, but then watching it, 2 more times.
It's like going through a haunted house where it's like, I know all the scares, but it's fun in the moment. But it's just like it lacks that emotional core that someone. Thank you for commenting, and it's like, it's interesting to see because, like we said, I watched the first one years ago and have mostly forgotten it, and Jordan's never seen the first one, so it's interesting to see someone who did love the first movie and really kind of grew up on that, and then come and watch this one and feel disappointed because it's like I felt that too, but I couldn't put my finger on it till they said that comment about how it's just like he's the oldest guy and he's the best of the best. Like, what is happening here? Like, this is not what an adult relationship should like. He should.
It's not as endearing that he's never like gone in the ranks. I mean, I don't know fucking shit about the military. I don't know what he's a captain, and then people are like, "Oh, you're still a captain." So apparently that's like dog shit. And so he's never gone. He's never gone up. He's never gone up.
He's where he needs to be, Jordan.
At the end of it, though, did he get promoted? He got promoted, right? At the end
I think he got fucking fired or something. They like.
I don't know. He's in like a white coat. Is that like is that more just a Marine?
I think that's just his captain's. No, I do think that is like his rank. I don't know what he is.
That just his captain's rank?
Maybe he did get promoted. Because then he goes and takes Penny out, which is. They spend all this time. So I had to look it up after the fact because I was like, Penny's not the chick from the first movie. She's not.
No.
And So, but I had to look it up because I'm like, they're talking like there's all this like history, and I was telling Mary because she'd never seen the first one either, and I was like, no, they're acting like this is history from the first movie, but it's really history from in between the two movies, trying to establish some sort of like, like backstory and exposition to like what has Mav been doing.
Is she the daughter of somebody that he used to know?
They mention it in the first one that it's just like, oh, he had a fling with her and. She's an admiral's daughter, you know what I mean? And that's about it. And then they brought her in this for, again, probably nostalgia. They're like, hey, remember that offhanded chick he mentions? Let's make her the main love interest in this one, because why not? But it didn't need a love interest, but like we need to show that Tom Cruise is human, and it's hard to do.
Like, I know it's really difficult. It's really like when they carried him out of there, and I'm like Tom Cruise is like 4'11", and he's getting carried out.
I'm glad they actually showed it because there's the scene when him and Miles Teller are like, he's like, "You're not my real dad. You killed my dad." And he's like, "I just wanted what's best for you, son." And they're standing.
He's in stilts.
But he still looks super tiny, and I'm like, this is adorable. Yeah. I wish they'd kiss.
I know.
I don't know what it is. I kind of hate. I have a weird relationship with Tom Cruise personally. We know each other. But
I know. Well, yeah.
I kind of dig him sometimes, but I mostly hate him, and I think he's but he's an interesting superstar.
I feel like he's been so entrenched in Scientology and just like Hollywood elite that like I don't even think he knows who he is anymore. Like I think he just looks in the mirror and he's like I see a skin tube.
Well, I mean, Christian Bell said he did Patrick Bateman's performance off Tom Cruise, and I remember when I read that, I was like, "Oh yeah, that makes perfect sense."
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Nailed it. Yeah.
See, and I imagine, even though American Psycho, I like to think that he at least did kill some of the people because it makes sense. But I do think that Tom Cruise probably imagines he's a serial killer and like is like thinking like he could just do whatever he wants and just thinks about genocide all the time, probably. I can see it in his eyes.
Sure. Like I just can't picture like, I don't know. Tom Cruise is like he lives in the sky like James Cameron lives in the ocean.
Right. Hey, yeah, that's fair. Before I play Travis's message though, I got two questions for you. I'm just curious. What's your favorite Tom Cruise movie? And then also, if you had to pick another movie from this era to get a sequel, a $200 million sequel that's going to blow the socks off people, which one would you pick?
Yeah.
Because I've been trying to think of that. I've been trying to be like, which was the equivalent? Because like, if there's a guy in Hollywood that's like, that's the trend, go back to like the late 80s, early 90s, find a beloved action movie and then make a new sequel for it and make tons of dough, like obviously. Like what would be the one you'd actually be like, oh fuck yeah, I'm there for that.
Right. So this is what sucks though. Right off the cuff, it would be Terminator, but like better than what we've got now.
Do not give me any more Terminator movies. Just
better.
Let it die.
No, that's what I mean. If all from 3, like 3 is fine because 3 came out.
Have you watched them all?
No, honey. 3 is fine. I haven't seen a single one after 3, but 3 is fine because it's like it came out in what, like 2002, 2003,
like 2005 or something.
Or was it 5?
But I don't know. But yeah, still early 2000s.
Anyways, so if 3 came out and then they killed the franchise, and then now in 2022 they came out with a $200 million Terminator, that would be sick. It would be cool.
I like how 3 ended, and so it's like
that's what I'm saying.
I feel like it should have ended.
3 was fine. I loved it, and so it's like
don't watch any of the other ones. They're awful.
No,
they're all.
I figured.
I've always watched them hoping they're going to be good, and then like I watched the last one, Dark Fate or whatever, because they're like, because they did that. They said we're ignoring all. They're doing that thing where they ignored the last movie.
But you can't do that when you make a movie like 3 years later after your last movie, and then you're like, we're ignoring all of it. Like, it's like, I don't know.
James Cameron came back and was like, I hated that, and he was like the executive producer on the new one, and it was still terrible. So,
yeah.
Off the top of my head, I still couldn't think hard about it, but it's like,
I'd have to look it up. Yeah.
And it's interesting because Tom Cruise is in the sequel to this, but he's not the main guy from the first movie. But I would like to see a good Speed sequel, like a good one.
Oh yeah,
Speed or like a good Point Break, something. You know what I mean? Like something. Like, I don't know, like my 80s, and well, those are both early 90s, I guess, but
sure,
those action movies.
Same diff.
But even like like you got your hardcore action movies from the 80s. Like I guess I'm an edgy and I like the more violent ones, like Predator and like RoboCop and stuff. Like those are the ones. Like, give me a decent RoboCop sequel, I guess. That doesn't.
Oh, dude, actually, yeah, that would be really sick. Actually,
but like
really
Paul
good.
Verhoeven, like actually coming back and doing.
Yeah, yeah, make it like grimy and yeah. I think Tom Cruise favorite movie. It's kind of a two-parter. It would be like between like, I don't know, Eyes Wide Shut, Magnolia, Vanilla Sky. But then honestly, it would be his performance in Tropic Thunder. It's like
that's fair.
It's just enough Tom Cruise, and he's hidden in it, and it's like I don't know. I'm like, oh, cool, he's having a good time.
I didn't even realize there's Tom Cruise till the credits first time I watched it, so I was like, it's like he's just having fun in that one. So it's like,
right, that's what I mean.
He feels
it's like,
most like a human.
Yeah, I think yeah. It's like that to me makes me feel like, oh, on set, because it's like he didn't have the vanity, because that's kind of his big thing. Is like I'm impressed with him, and also just like repulsed that he's like so
I can get why
vain.
Top
Like,
Gun makes sense, because it's like 80s Tom Cruise. Like I was like remembering, and I watched like a little clip from the first one, and I was like, like I like 80s Tom Cruise. I don't know why, but it's like, but I think it's because he didn't go fully, like, I don't know, like a weird plastic man like he is now. He might have always been, but
I guess I forgot Jerry Maguire. He's really cute in that. It's like
he is cute.
He seems more human.
Tom Cruise, unless you're listening to this, we're always a big fan. So come on.
We love you. Yeah, we'll support you. Whatever cream you use, I'll use it too. Just let us know. We'll get sponsored by them. All right, can we listen to Travis, please?
Yes.
Those were good questions.
My favorite ones are the same as yours.
Yeah,
Magnolia or probably Magnolia. All right.
Yeah. Right.
Because I mean, PTA just rules.
Yeah, PTA. But it's like Eyes Wide Shut is interesting. So it's
I actually do like him in Eyes Wide Shut. It's because him and Nicole Kidman have such a good chemistry, because they're actually really dating, and so like they were actually married at the time.
Right.
And so it's but they're like not a good couple in the movie either. So it is an interesting dynamic.
Yeah.
Anyway, here's Travis's who called in. So here, if you're ready, if you can hear it, hopefully.
Hey guys, to me, Top Gun Maverick is a mix between a Hallmark love story and a superior aviation action movie with no counterpart. One thing that makes this movie stand out is all the preparation and cameras that were used. The real facial responses and scenery shot from inside the cockpit is amazing. Plus, having an unforgettable scene with the valiant Val Kilmer raises this movie in my eyes. But it's almost as if Top Gun Maverick should be accompanied with a documentary of the making of it to truly appreciate its value. I found it interesting how the enemy country wasn't identified nor shown on a global map, and their pilots were only shown wearing pilot helmets. So my question for you two is, do you think this was done for economical reasons, political reasons, or like a real Hallmark movie wanted everyone to be happy at the end? Thanks.
Thanks, Travis.
Oh, thank you for calling in, dude. That was one thing I did like too, Travis, is seeing the actual, because they were like hitting. I swear to God, they got to like the actual actors got to go to like Mach 3 or something crazy, like fucking really like because they went through like 3 weeks of training or 3 months of training. I can't remember, and then that's one cool thing I kind of respect about Tom Cruise now, is that he's just such an adrenaline junkie because he's so like just so rich and famous. That's what he does now. So he just does like all his stunts and shit. And so I know he's like, obviously he didn't learn how to fly these planes, but he's like he probably learned about as much of them as he could. He could probably fly the smaller ones. I want to say, if I'm not mistaken, he is a
I think he pilot. Is. Like I wouldn't be at all surprised if the old plane he flies at the end he actually flies. I would not at all be surprised about that.
Yeah. But that's the thing.
But he's literally, I guarantee you, he's like, try and make me throw up. Like, I would like to see a documentary. Like, he's like, I want you to fucking go crazy.
I mean, I watched like a little, like, couple minute vignette about them doing it, and they go through like Navy training and stuff, and like they actually go. I swear to God, they do like 5Gs or something crazy like that. Like they experience like this full thing, and everybody was like throwing up on it. Like it was like. All the actors were like,
I can't imagine. That sounds like that sounds brutal.
Yeah, dude. It's like I did fucking in Epcot in Disney World. I did this like it's a ride called Mission to Mars or some shit like that. And you like sit in this cockpit and it comes down and it's like really close and you're like really trapped in there and it like the machine like it looks like you're going like on a mission thing. And dude, when it closed in, I seriously for like a split second I was about to be like, get me out of here. Like I was so scared.
Yeah, I don't like that at all. I don't know.
It was awful. Like Victoria and I were both like holding hands, like about to die. Anyways, Travis, I think that it was strictly political.
Oh, it was. Well, I don't even know if it's political so much as it's like we don't want to offend anyone at all. But that's the thing. That's why this movie
that is impressive that they didn't offend anybody.
They offended me.
I mean, yeah, of course. I know.
Well, it's just like
that was the joke.
It's not like you have to be like, oh yeah, these are fucking, some specific country. It's like, no, just have them be like, give them a crazy Bond villain or something with a scar across his eye. Like at least that I can.
Right. Well, I love how it's like an unmanned, it's an unmanned station. They're like, oh, they're gonna leave this, Utonium over here if we don't blow it up in the next week. And it's like they're just they like, I don't know. It's just wild how they're like, but we're gonna bomb this like unmanned station, and it's like, I don't know, it's just so like it was so like low risk.
Yeah, no,
but,
it
like,
felt so
important.
artificial.
It's
that's
like,
why I was like, I know that's what Mary was saying too. Is like
brutal.
Like have these guys be like making constant like attacks. Like make it urgent. Like it doesn't feel urgent because it's like again, it's just the enemy. They're bad guys doing bad things.
Off camera, somebody says, we have to go. The shipment's been put up to they're gonna get there a week early. We gotta do this, like literally just voiceover to like give urgency, and I'm like, this is so.
We got to move up the timeline so that you guys can do the thing that you've been practicing to do, and then succeed. Like I was literally like, oh, they're gonna kill Bob, the like likable like nerdy guy that actually he's like he has. It turns out he's the nerd that actually has a spine and is really good at what he does. Obviously. But I was like, oh, they're going to kill those guys, or they're going to kill someone.
I thought they were going to kill someone. No one died.
It felt like there was no stakes.
Dude, not
and
even.
They felt superhuman.
I think like, it was like 2 or 3 plane guys died, but that doesn't count because they were just kind of, they were in a dogfight and it was wreckage. And then B, when they go and they bomb the, like, because America's perfect and we haven't done anything bad, we just bombed their airspace, but not, or like their landing strip and their like takeoff. But nobody got hurt.
We only
Everybody
killed
was
the
just
other guys in self-defense. Like that's the only way we killed them. It was all justified because they're wearing basically black-clad fucking Cobra.
They really were.
They're basically stormtroopers, just to be faceless evil. Like you might as well just put a giant red X on them. I don't know.
There's the Sphinx, dude.
Like. Anyway, that's Top Gun Maverick. I'm not gonna. We're done. I do one more. Actually, Val Kilmer. I love Val Kilmer, and it was nice to see him in this.
It was. It's like heartbreaking. I'm like, I wonder if he's like still alive right now. Like, I hope he is.
I know. Like I want to watch that documentary really bad.
It's really good.
Oh, did you watch it?
Definitely. Yeah. It definitely.
I really want to see it
on Travis's request, or suggestion too.
I really wanted to watch it, and I thought I could get Mary into it, but she's like, "Who the fuck is Val Kilmer?"
Dude,
and I said, "Get out of my face."
She should watch it. It's beautiful. His son made it for him.
Yeah, his son does all the narration.
It's really touching.
I like how I like how they brought him back in this, and it's nice to see because it's like obviously he can't really work much.
Well, I was like, I really wondered. I was like, are they doing it? And then I was actually curious if him speaking is really him speaking, or if they dubbed over a person. Trying to. I don't think he can talk right now.
He can't. I don't think he can either.
I think they did.
I'm pretty sure that it was. I think they said it was like AI actually.
Oh really? Was it?
Yeah. They took his voice, put it in a computer program or something.
Right.
I could see that, or maybe they got his son to do it and like tweaked it because his son does sound kind of like him from what I've heard from the like younger him.
Yeah.
Anyway. Val Kilmer, he was cool. I like Jennifer Connelly. I like Miles Teller. I like, even it's like, I don't know. This movie is okay.
That's the whole thing. Yeah, it's like you
I'm
said,
just mad because it's like I always get mad around the Oscars, and so if this wins anything else other than editing, I'm gonna be drunk at my Oscar party and I'm gonna bitch about it. But that's kind of fun, honestly.
So. Well, and then the next movie that we're watching next week is gonna be one that we both enjoyed. And I'm excited to watch it again and see how it impacts me, see how I feel about it.
Yeah, I think it'll be an interesting one to do and cover. So hopefully, next week, still on the best of 2022. Another movie that's getting a lot of, I'm surprised it came out in like fucking February and it still got so much staying power.
It's so sick, dude.
But we're watching Everything Everywhere All at Once. So
because this sets a precedent for movies that can be made for like 30 million and have a huge fucking like huge impact and seem larger than life.
Yeah,
the movie itself
we'll get into it, but basically Everything Ever All at Once is the exact opposite of Top Gun.
Of Top Gun, man. Really, yeah, honestly.
It has a lot to say.
And it's got so much fucking action in it, dude. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
It's got it all, dude. It's got everything.
It really does.
It's really good. So anyway, so watch that next week. Thank you everyone who commented on the Reddit. I obviously didn't get a chance to read all the Reddits, so thank you everyone who actually commented on there. I love seeing those of you who are actually sticking with us and watching the movies with us each week, and doing the whole film club thing. So it's fucking sweet.
Yeah, we'll come get to you. Don't worry.
Oh yeah, don't you worry about it. And then obviously, if you're listening to this and made it this far, thank you. Tune in next week. Go watch Everything Ever All at Once so you can mentally butter up your brain for that episode.
Yeah, dude. Come join us. If you wanna be able to watch Everything Everywhere All at Once around the same time we do, it goes onto our Plex. You can get that through our Patreon, and we would appreciate it. And you would be supporting us, and we'd love you. And we love you either way, honestly. If you're just listening to this and subscribe to us,
yeah, Tom Cruise.
That's so dope.
Tom Cruise, if you're listening.
Dude, how about can the U.S. military just give us not even like a 0.00001% of their budget and we'd be set for life?
Wouldn't that be fun?
Can we just get that, please?
Yeah, thanks. We'll endorse this movie. This movie's sponsored by the U.S. military.
Let's have
a round for the U.S. military.
I was thinking that the whole time I was watching this, I'm like this has the production quality of like some Midwest like strip mall Marine Corps recruiting camp that you go to, and they're just like, look at this, son. You want to go fast?
Oh yeah, I guarantee you they used at least one shot from this in a like Let's Go Army ad or anything. Anyway, thanks for. We don't have any opinions about that.
Love you guys. Yeah. Love the military.
Yeah,
we love. You know what? I support the troops, both sides.
All right. Goodbye.
See you guys.